everybody. So I've done a whole muscle jerky video. That's like, I don't know, second, third video that I ever posted to YouTube. So today I'm going to do a ground jerky video. This is how I do it. I don't have a jerky gun. I don't have a lot of fancy tools. The biggest tool I have that I use is my dehydrator. And guys, we've been using it for everything. Wife and I dehydrated jalapenos the other day, and I made a jalapeno salt. Zucchini chips dehydrated. I do a lot of jerky because it's expensive to buy. This is how we save some money. And I use the wild game that we get every year, or that I hunt for every year, and I try to make some jerky out of it. So this is a ground jerky recipe. So guys, please like, subscribe, leave me a comment, ask questions. I'd like to be engaged with you guys. I like to learn more. If you guys have any questions about how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it that way, I'd love to communicate back and forth with you. So again, ground jerky. I am using elk that I shot in 2020. All right, guys, so let's get started on this. Again, 5 pounds of raw meat. This is elk that I shot last year, 2020. I process all my own animals at home, so I ground it up. Basically with it, we mix in some ground beef from the grocery store just to add a little bit of fat content. That's because wild game is so lean. So again, that's mixed in here. It's ground up. It's about 5 pounds of meat. Now I'm using a Cabela's brand jerky making kit or seasoning kit. This has a seasoning and a cure in it. I use the kits because I know it comes with enough to do a 5 pound bowl. You can buy the curing salt if you want to do that yourself, but to me it's just a little bit too risky to ruin 5 pounds of meat if you don't get enough cure, or you put way too much cure in, which I've seen happen. So this is the way we do it. Again, jerky making kit from Cabela's. Use whatever you want, guys. 5 pounds of raw meat, and this is a ground jerky recipe. It'll make nice little sticks. They're more uniform. So hope you guys enjoy. Big thing when you're doing this, guys, hands got to be really, really clean. So this is a variety kit. This is a pepper jerky. And then again, like I said, just their cure. It's good for 5 pounds of meat. So I'm going to put it in. And then I'm going to mix, guys, I'm going to mix all this by hand. That's what's really key for me, is you want to get all this meat covered. All of it, you want all your meat to have a flavor, obviously. So that's what the seasoning is, what I just put in. Peppered jerky. That is what that is called. And then this is a jerky cure. The cure is the big thing. This is what makes this meat so it'll last longer and you can store it longer and it's not going to go bad on you. So it's good for 5 pounds of meat. Again, whatever the recipe you guys are following or trying to use, make sure you have enough cure for the amount of meat that you have. So like I said, it's big that your hands are clean. So my hands, just washed my hands, ready to go. And I am going to mix this. Make sure I get a good even coat.
Never let me go.
Alright guys, we're going to set our curing meat aside for a little bit. And this is the little tip and trick that I've been doing for a long time. That, again, this makes it possible without a jerky gun. non-stick parchment paper, and a cookie sheet. Make sure you get it big enough. Cover your whole cookie sheet. And I'm going to use it. I do about half of it on this one and half of it on another one. Okay, and then I can just press out a lot of this, spread it out a little bit, because you want about a 1/4 inch thick, this meat to be about a 1/4 inch thick when it goes into the dehydrator. And you want it as even as possible. So if the whole thing's about the same width and the whole thickness, then everything's gonna come out better, and everything drying time is about the same. So if, for whatever reason, the 12 hours at 145 wasn't enough because maybe I cut them too thick, or I left them too thick, I would know that in one piece and all of them are about the same. I don't want them to be at different processes, different. So I have to, pull half now, pull half later. So again, this parchment paper, big part of what we're doing. Looks like I just got to the end of my roll, guys. Don't tell my wife. Rolling pin. I'm just rolling it out. I am, like I said, I want a 1/4 inch thick and I want consistency. So I want to push that meat out to the outer edges of this. And what's so nice about this parchment paper, guys, if I need to check my thickness, I just peel it back. It doesn't stick to it. It doesn't cause any problems with it. Again, you can use your hands, but I like the wife's rolling pin. Now, the more consistent you can make these, the more consistent you can make your sticks. And so if you're planning on putting them in say you're going to put them in a mason jar and you're going to give them to family for Christmas, you can do that. You can make sure your stuff's the right thickness, the right length, and that's what's nice about this whole muscle jerky, or this ground jerky versus whole muscle. Whole muscle jerky, you're kind of stuck. Whatever size and shape it is, it is. This, well, I want it to be a square, and I want to make sure that everything's the right length, and so I can push it more to this corner and this outer edge here and make it a flat edge along the top of this cookie sheet. Okay, so what I'm gonna do with this is what makes it easier to work with. I'm gonna take this out to my deep freezer. I'm gonna drop it in the deep freeze for about 2 hours. I'm gonna let it somewhat harden and somewhat freeze. I know, it sounds crazy, but it makes it so I can handle it and I can do what I want with it once I drop it in this deep freeze. I will be able to form it, I will be able to cut it, and then set it on those dehydration racks. So I'm gonna put this in the freezer now, go back and finish the other one. I'll bring you guys back once I'm ready to cut it, okay? Meat going in the freezer, guys. Again, I'm gonna leave it in there for a couple hours. Let it harden up. I don't want it fully frozen because I don't want to add a bunch of moisture and I don't want it all completely frozen hard. I just need it hard enough and frozen, stuck together enough that I can cut it and then process it. I can put it onto the drying racks for later. So I've got another bucket or half bucket full of meat to get ready to go into this. So see you guys in a minute. All right, so while we're waiting for that to freeze in the next process, I'm gonna go over what I'm gonna add on top of that once I get it cut and on the racks. I have a homemade jalapeno salt. This is my first time ever making this jalapeno salt, but basically I used my dehydrator. I dehydrated some leftover jalapenos that we had, and I had, I don't know, 2 or 3 trays worth of jalapenos. I dehydrated them. It took about 16 hours to fully dehydrate the jalapenos because I didn't cut them thin enough, whatever. So, dehydrated jalapenos, I put them in the blender. And then I added a cup of salt, and I made a DIY jalapeno salt. Now, I will warn you, if your jalapenos are hot as hell, the salt's gonna be hot as hell. I don't know why I thought this, but I thought, okay, the jalapenos, they're gonna be dehydrated. They're not gonna be near as hot when you do the salt. It's just gonna have that great jalapeno flavor, which it does. The jalapeno flavor is like one of the best I've ever had. But it has an afterbite that is so damn hot that if you just breathe it in, you will start coughing. So, I'm going to add this. I'll show you guys when I add this, but this is homemade jalapeno salt. It's going to go right on top. That's the... Alright, so, it's not fully frozen. I don't want it hard. I want it so I can use it, so I can move it. I always cut it right down the middle, or as close to the middle as I can do. And then just cut strips.
It never worked out fine. I watched it fall away.
Alright, so I have everything here cut. Now it's just time to start filling out my trays. So each one, and if it rips, not a huge deal, guys, and I just put it on the tray. You fill one tray at a time. There you see, I mean, 1/4 inch thick, nice little pieces. Doesn't really matter how you put it on the tray, as long as they're not touching. You don't want your jerky touching, and that's all for the drying process, guys. Alright, that's it. She's all in, guys. So, last thing I need to do before I have some awesome beef jerky, I'm going to turn the dial here. I want it at 145. And I'm just going to click it on. Now, about 12 hours is what it takes for my stuff to work. That's about the process it takes for that stuff to dry out. So 12 hours from now, I'll have some awesome jerky. Thanks for coming along with the ride today. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked what I did today, give me a thumbs up. Again, guys, drop me a comment. I'd love to interact with some of you. I hope you guys are enjoying as I learn this YouTube process. Kids seem to enjoy watching videos. Declan really enjoys making videos with me. So if you like more of that content, let me know that also, guys. But this is my second batch of jerky this week. Going out of town, and